Welcome to the Mindful Convo. It's a podcast where conversation becomes a mirror for deeper self understanding. This is a space where real people have real conversations and share their real transformation. So these conversations are about relationship, they're about business, they're about spirituality, they're about identity, and ultimately what it truly means to understand ourselves through connection. I'm Mario Salat. I am a conscious self-love and spiritual relationship coach, and this is my co-host.
I'm Anastassia Lover, and thank you so much, Mario, for having me on this podcast. So today we are going to talk all about love and money, navigating business as a couple. Love and money are some of the most powerful forces in human relationships. And when business gets added to the mix, it can either strengthen the connection or start to expose some of the cracks underneath it, right? And so in this episode, we sit down with married co-founders of Malibu West Media, Ali and Ishan Reyna, to talk about what it really takes to build a successful relationship while building a successful business together. Ali and Ishan Reyna are husband and wife team behind Malibu West Media, a creative agency founded in 2018. Now, since officially joining forces, they've doubled their business and together have helped personally over 60 plus businesses and individuals build industry-leading brands. From launching new ideas to creating media and collaborating with established companies like Boot Barn, Four Seasons, and the US Air Force, they really help bring life into big visions. So welcome, Ali and Ishan.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, this is fantastic. We really appreciate what you guys are doing, and we're just happy to be here.
Well, before we got on this podcast, we were just having a conversation, and I mentioned to you how much I love just watching you on social media, building your company. Obviously, you're both newly married, about a year, as you mentioned, and your business is thriving. I love, love, love seeing your personal pictures. You guys are just the cutest couple. So I want to start with a foundational question of how are you doing it, right? Relationships are hard enough. Business is hard enough, and you are bringing both and just making it look so effortless. So share your secrets with us.
Would you like to kick it off?
Yeah, I love that you called it a foundational question because I think the answer is kind of having a foundation as a huge part of it. So it was nice for us to, I think separately, we both really got to a place even before we met each other where we felt like we had a self foundation first. And so there was a lot we can go into on that in like our own private lives, but then it kind of opened up the space for us to find each other. And then from there, we just worked on what it's like to communicate with each other and what it's like to have that healthy relationship with each other. And then we introduced business. And so for us, that was a really good kind of format or pathway to where we're at now. Because, go ahead.
No, I think Ali's hitting these points really eloquently. And I'm just going to kind of fast forward to joining forces in business. This is my best friend. And I was just secretly like, I don't care what business it is. I just wanted an excuse to hang out with her all day, every day. And so that's kind of, it's made it so fun because we enjoy each other's company too. Yes, there are the challenges of business, but it's been more effortless than effort so far.
Yeah, and I really want to point out what you just said because I think it's so important. Is you said she's your best friend and you just want to have a chance to hang out with her. I think when it comes to business, I think what makes most businesses successful is the passion behind it, right? And so when you're able to find something that makes business feel like it's not business, but it's fun, it's pleasure, it's excitement, it's creativity, and then you get to do it with a person that you love by your side every single day. I love that. I love hearing that you are using the business almost as an expression of your relationship. Would you say so?
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to look at it too. And both the relationship that we have, with each other, and then the way that we're able to bring that joy and that lightness when we work with our clients too. But I think kind of what you're mentioning as well makes a lot of sense, because the way that we've built the business and the way we actually encourage our clients to build their business is really a lifestyle business. So thinking about, what do you want to create? I mean, we're here for a pretty short time on earth. And so what can we do to make the most maximum impact? How can we help people while we're here? And then how can we also enjoy and be with the people that we love, and kind of have that snowball effect to help people along the way too? So I think it's been a real privilege to call this work. And I think, some days it doesn't really feel like work. Some days, yes. But most of all, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. What would you say is the difference between the days when it doesn't feel like work and it does feel like work?
Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to roll in?
Yeah. Okay. Let me think about this. Okay. So a day that doesn't feel like work. I mean, we baked cookies this afternoon. Today, we woke up focused. You know what it is actually? Is in life, you wake up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes, and you wake up on the right side of the bed. I think especially when you're working remote and you're working from home and you're working with your significant other, it kind of has a little bit of that energy too, where if you don't set yourself up right in the morning, regardless of how you woke up, then you're screwed for that day. And so I feel like days that feel more like work, we forget about that morning routine or time together. And it's like we wake up and head straight into the offices. And I feel like those days, there's a little bit faster of a heartbeat behind them, where it feels like you're working, it has that really strong energy, versus days where we have time with each other in the morning, we figure out what our day looks like, and then we start to dive in. I think we're more effective that way. And when we're effective, then we allow ourselves to carve out the time to bake cookies, So that's not an everyday thing. But if we crush it in the morning, then we have time where we really feel like we can relax with each other.
Yes. One last thing to add on to that too is the days that we're having the most fun, we're actually the most effective with the workday too. So yes, maybe it sounds like we're slacking off baking cookies in the middle of the day. Honestly, I would say we crushed the morning, and then had the time and we're like, whoa, we're done with all the things that we might have taken us, 8, 9 hours another day, 4 or 5 hours, we're done with everything. What do we do now? What do I do with my hands?
You know what we said before we baked cookies? We said, what should we have for lunch today? And then we were thinking of what we had in the fridge, and we're like, I think it's gonna be the cookies.
I love that. I love that.
I feel like you guys have a good this, for lack of better terms, it's not having what do you call it I'm into sports, so I do and I've been in sports my whole life, and there's a difference between a sparring partner and a coach. But almost your sparring partner and your coach do similar things. They both hold the mitts, they both hold the pads, they're both but there's a difference between a flow between two people. And it sounds like you guys somehow have this really good innate ability to flow between each other or pick up on each other when someone either slept on the wrong side or the right side of the bed, to be able to be aware when someone does that and to pick up on that, and to to not to build upon the I guess the tension that's already there, but to validate it, to confirm it, to be aware of it, to acknowledge it, and how to keep going from that, and not let that be a defining point and being like, wow, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, relationship's over now, business is over now, just throw everything to the wind. For some people, it's that intense where it's they become the emotion. It's not something that they're having. And then in relationships, what I've noticed is that when people take ownership of just the emotion, and it causes this separation between the partner, and it's well, I have to protect this emotion over the relationship or over the business, and it causes different choices to be made. So I'm just curious, for you guys, what is something that you both naturally do better than the other that becomes a benefits for the business or a
Yeah,
relationship?
great question. I think to all the points you just said too, that's what's so interesting about a relationship is like picking up on somebody's little, even silent mannerisms that kind of tell you how they're doing. And it's just like, it's a dance, right? Like you're just dancing all of the time. And to answer your question, it's a very good question. Both of us have completely different not completely, but different communication styles too. And so that has shown up kind of in our relationship and how to navigate communicating and also communicating with our clients. So I think we both know like who would be best for different types of conversations. So we're kind of able to balance each other that way. So we're not always both sending emails or both showing up to do the same exact things. It's nice. I had someone say to me the other day, then I'll pass it over to you because you'll have a better answer. But but I had someone say to me the other day, they were like, "Oh, I have so much work. I wish I could just duplicate myself." And I was like, "Oh, like I feel like I did that." But like we are very similar in a lot of ways. And it's so helpful because we both have kind of interchangeable skills with each other. So it's very lovely. But I was like, shut your mouth, Ali. Don't tell this person to go and get a husband. Like, that's terrible, terrible advice. So I bit my tongue. But that I feel lucky that that's kind of this situation. How would you say we're like separate and divide and conquer?
Oh gosh, it is a hard one because I do think that we have a lot of similarities when it comes to at least the care that we have for the clients and kind of the lightheartedness, but the way to really connect. I guess maybe I can answer this more in a tactical way, if you will. You know, what are some actual things that we might bring to the day? I think Ali has this sense of optimism and this like unwavering ability to keep me on track, which is so wonderful because I think we have a creative media agency, and it's no surprise the business doubled and is on track to triple, quadruple because I we're keeping on a straight line and a straight track rather than being a creative and having 5 million ideas and
So
fires
he's
go
the
off.
idea man. He's the creative and the design man behind Malibu West. Like that's why it's a creative agency. If you've ever met a creative, they're like bing bap boo, boo, boo. Like I think both of you guys might have energy in yourself too. But like you have a lot of ideas. And I'm like both in business I would be this way of like we've got to focus and reel it in, but also in relationship in that way too. So yeah, it's a really good balance because you kind of push me over the limit of like what I would even stretch myself to think is possible.
Yeah, but not that you have the creative bit too. So I feel like it's this really cool fuse of we can complement each other really well. But I think what Ali's saying too is so much of the time I'll have sometimes an idea and go full force passion on this idea for 30 minutes. And I'll have to do a thought experiment, like test out this idea. Is it worth pursuing, as a new branch of the business, as a different venture, as something, and truly go full force in it, but then come to a realization. And I feel like I have to do that because I want to either find the answer, yes, is this worth pursuing? Or no, is this something I should turn off and get back on this other track really quick? And Ali's been super patient with me in that regard. But I think there's nothing in the world like being able to go back and forth with her too on these ideas. So I know we're getting a little off track on the initial question, but I think we do bring a lot of similarity, but some different dynamics to the business, which help because at the end of the day, I guess we're more of a creative space. We have to have the creativity, which we both have, but it's also so important when we have the team working with us, when we have just to have these systems and actual business procedures in place that we have to make sure that we're growing and adapting to the team and not just ideas all the time too. So it's a good mix.
Yeah, it's really cool because there's different types of creative, right? Creative energy within the company. There's the creative energy of expansion, right? Like that's the business ideas and, oh, we could do events and we can do this and we can do this type of branding. And then there's the creative of like the soul of the company. And so, for example, I would say in our business, he's like the quality control, right? So he is the soul of the company. He is like, this is the highest level of quality, and I'm not going to move away from it. And so, sometimes when I get into my creative ideas, because my mind is more focused on business, and I'm like, oh, we can target this person and this person, and he's like, is it aligned with this vision that I'm looking to build? And if it's not, that's a no. And so he kind of keeps me on track with, not everything is a good idea, right? But it also keeps the quality, and
every idea is a good idea, but not every idea is useful towards something. Okay, let me jump in.
Okay, go ahead.
First off, all great. Fire. I love it. She think about a bonfire. You know what a bomb is? Is that what you guys? A campfire?
Yeah.
Right? You put the logs there, and if there's no spark, there's no flame, and you're not gonna get no campfire, and there's no warmth. She is like a lighter. She can make sparks, and these sparks are just new ideas. And each spark has the potential to become like a full flame. But that's what she accelerates in. She can just come up with ideas. She can come up with new things, new strategies, and it's just sparks, sparks, sparks. And that has a very significant role. And then for me, it's like I'm very much the logs. And so it's about the longevity of the fire. And so if the spark catches, right, and she has an idea, whatever, my mind is like, okay, now how do I convert that spark into a long-term flame? And so we do this thing where she's like, here's a spark, and I'm just like, no, yes. And I'm flowing it like, there's these values that I have, and these values to me create legacy, longevity, and a business, or for me, business is just another word for impact, right? My whole beingness is to create an impact that extends beyond my life, and therefore I know the value of my life is more than its own, and it's for everyone else. And so then I have like these value systems where I'm like, okay, your idea or whatever it is that you got going, I love it, that's great, but can we filter it through this value so that way it becomes a flame and becomes something long term? And so we're like, you would see, like, if you didn't see, like, or I guess externally we're completely opposites, it looks like. All right, it's just like start something new, and I'm like, I need to do one thing all the way until it's done, so that way it's not in here anymore, and I'm free from it, and it's its own thing. And then so we'll be like, yeah,
Constantly sparring all day.
Constantly sparring, but it's not against each other because it's for something, right? So before the relationship, we have like everything goes towards something, right? Towards a goal, towards I don't know if you can say business, like even the relationship itself is an external thing for us, and we work for that thing. And so I know that whatever she has, ultimately that thing needs. And my goal is to serve that thing, that higher thing. And so then I know that you have purpose and meaning. So even if it conflicts or goes against mine, I'm just know that I can't perceive it through my purpose, but I know that it or she has purpose for that. And then likewise.
Yeah, that's it's so true. It's so true. Well, to bring it back to you guys, you mentioned that you know each other's strengths, and you show up, let's say, with clients or in different roles with whatever strength you have, so that way you're not like competing, or you're not showing up and doing the same thing for each client. So I'm really, really curious about this question, and this question really ties both into business and relationships. How do you know when to navigate, like who's leading, who's following? And by following, I mean supporting, right? Like there's always going to be somebody who's taking the leading role and then more of a supportive role, and that constantly shifts within your relationship dynamic, your business dynamic. So how do you, when it comes down to business decisions or major business pivots that you know are going to affect both of you, how do you, I guess, keep from like competing with each other, fighting, and supporting each other through that?
It's a really good question. I honestly would say it's just so naturally collaborative. And I think, business aside, I think that Ali and I are so supportive of one another. And I know that she supports me to the end of the world for the wildest things I might want to do. And I feel the same. Um, when it comes to business, it's just, I think maintaining that sense of respect. There's a respect for one another that I think is able to prevent a lot of the going head to head on in terms of um, is one person being too strong willed or and I think I can speak from experience on mine. Ali will be really good at checking me on something. She might say, you know what, I think that's more your ego talking right there, and I'll say, you know what, you're right. Thank you for that. Thank you for saying that. Then I can redirect and recenter myself. So, but I don't. I know this sounds weird to say, but I personally, and I would love to hear your perspective on it live for all of the internet to hear. But I don't feel a sense of, I really don't feel that sense of friction. It's more collaboration than competing for who's going to be the head or the leader of, or the face of. It's almost like Ali said in the past question, where this might sound very, too much to say, but that copy paste thing where you have another version of yourself that you trust entirely and implicitly to represent the business. And even better than me, if Ali's out there, and I know she would feel the same about me if I'm out speaking and working with a client, that we have this same trust and respect that we can bring. So I would love to turn it over to you, but I think the question's a really good one.
Yeah, no, trust is such a good word. And it is almost like being an extension of each other. And when you're an extension of each other and you have that respect and you have that trust, it's like competition doesn't exist. Like, I don't think I've ever felt in competition with you ever, but there's still naturally going to be disagreements because we both have opinions that mine are always right. But like we both have opinions that sometimes we do not align on. And so for us, like the biggest tool that we've used is stepping away. Like when you can step away, and even if we're like frustrated because we just can't align, it's like when you have that space to yourself to just be like, oh, and like be upset by yourself instead of being upset in front of him, you cool down. And you walk out the door and you go, I'm so sorry. I've actually changed my perspective a little bit, And so I think that's the most powerful thing that we found in our business is taking time for yourself and then coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I don't want to paint it like it's this perfect picture, because every relationship takes work, every business takes work. I would say having a partner in business is one of the hardest things to do. I've been in partnerships where it doesn't work, and it's surprising. So it's amazing when it works, and I'm so thankful to be able to do that with someone that I also call my best friend and my wife. And again, I don't mean to paint the rosy picture, but it that sense of needing to go out and take a step away, we were trying to think, like, is it once every 2 weeks, once every month, where it's like, okay, we really need the little break if there's some sort of discord. But it always comes back to, that little breath of fresh air provides a lot of mental clarity when it comes back to understanding someone else's perspective and why maybe that's best for the company, or just best to honor your partner too. Because I think it's important to, let's just say in a scenario that I have a very strong will about something, and even if maybe I think it's the right thing, what does it do to that relationship if I'm, my way or the highway? Does it really matter that much? Or sure, that you have an equally great idea and it's going to make us feel great together, like into cooking dinner tonight, like let's look at the bigger picture here and what really matters.
That's so good. I've got this thing where I don't know where I got it from, somewhere from some relationship, and I've learned this lesson. Blah. Okay. if you're the only one who's right in a relationship, eventually you'll be the only one who's left in the relationship.
Oof.
So good.
Mike?
Yeah.
That's being that righteousness is only putting you on one side, and it's your side, right? And it's usually not the other person's side. And from what you guys said, it sounds like you've managed to acknowledge each other's sides, allow space for that person to be right or wrong, right, whatever that is, but still know that you're working together towards something that's common, and that common thing happens to benefit both of you individually, but it doesn't solely benefit one or the other individually. And so it's like, if it starts teetering more towards like, this is just benefiting me and then not you, then the relationship or the business is now going to suffer because I'm getting something only, and then my business partner's not, or your relationship partner's not, or something. Is that true to you guys in what you just said?
Totally. I think when you look at the business, like you said at the very beginning, if you're alone in it at the end of the day, like neither of us want to be alone in this. Like we want this to work together so much. Like we want to be together. Like Ishan said at the beginning of this call, like we want to be on that same side of the court together. And so, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying there. It's like you have that common goal and you know that you're in it with that person equally. And so you must march forward.
Yeah, and that's where having that goal in mind, even if you know that maybe the other person's decision is not the best decision, but they're so passionate about it, and then that moment you decide that, hey, it's more important for me to support this person, or it's to support the relationship more so than the business. At the end of the day, whatever challenge you run into, you're going to be working through it together, and this is going to strengthen the relationship, and you're going to learn from it together. So something that I've learned, it's really, really difficult for me to do, but he does this with me every single time. So do you want to tell him about the like argue each other's side thing?
God, we need it.
When I notice that we get to a place where we're only arguing our own sides, I've just become aware, or I've observed, that's when there's the most amount of tension and the least amount of movement. And so to break that, or to swap that, to get movement going again, I say, you know what? Argue my side for me, and I'll argue your side for you. And then you swap roles. And so instead of me trying to be right, I'm like, I want her to be right now. And I'm going to defend her side as much as I would my side. And then she has to swap and do the same thing for me. And so now you finally get to feel that the other person is actually on your side, right? Whether they agree or not, the agreement is not the thing. You have your opinion, and it comes from your own personal experiences. She has her opinion that's been all through her experiences and her thoughts and her emotions and everything. I'm not filtering it through the same filters, right? But we're doing the same thing. So instead of it being like, because usually when I'm saying I'm right, I'm asking to be heard or to be understood or to be felt or something. I'm alone actually inside my righteousness. And what I want is to connect. And the only way I can connect is if you're here with me inside whatever that feeling or thought is. And so if I can give her the position then to argue my side better than me, or whatever it is, then I can only do that if I offer the same thing to her. Because then it's just like, I need you to prove me wrong, me right. And I'm going to continue proving you wrong. And there's like a finger in your face. And it's just like, nobody wants that ever, of all
This
time.
is so fun. I can't wait to try that. That sounds so fun. Have you like have you changed your mind through doing this exercise?
It opens you up. So I always have a lot of resistance whenever he asks me to do it. Like my heart stops because I get so attached to my opinion that it's just the process of the unattachment, and it's essentially playing a role. Even if I have to fake it, it's like, okay, fine. And then just through saying I guess the ideas that maybe he would want, or temporarily taking his side, it's not even so much as like I'm completely, all the way from my side to his side, but it loosens the grip to the attachment that I have, and it brings us more into that common space, which has been really beneficial.
And you don't, like, I'm not actually asking her to agree or switch sides. I just want the acknowledgement that my side exists and that it has some purpose or some utility or some righteousness or something. I just don't want to be crazy inside my own brain by myself. And I'm like, no, like if we do this with the business, then it's going to get the revenue or the results or whatever it is that we want. So we have to do it this way. And then while I'm doing that, I'm just cutting her off. And so then ultimately, I'm not getting what I wanted from the beginning, was to not be alone and to be together. That was the purpose. If you're going to get married, if you're going to start a business together, whatever it is, the purpose was to be together. And what the together is just the vehicle. All right. And so if you then swap it and that the thing is more important than being together, like the business becomes more important than being together, then you're not going to be together. And then who's going to be in the business? Nobody. So keeping the idea that when we're clashing, right, and I feel I'm right and she feels I'm right. Wait, what did I say? Did I just say I'm right both ways?
So basically, he's always right too. We're on the same team.
Okay, I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I do think I'm always right. But that doesn't mean that's what's right for us. And I'm willing to put that somewhere. Doesn't mean throw it away. Doesn't mean get rid of it. Doesn't mean there's something wrong with it. It just means that what's right that I formulated for me and my thoughts and my feelings. And that's not always considering her. And so I just know that when I'm trying to be right, or if she's trying to be right, what both of us really want is connection. And so that way I can put my righteousness aside for a second and be like, okay, I know she thinks she's more right than me. She's not, but she doesn't want to be right. She wants to connect and she wants to feel like she's right. And she wants to feel like she's understood. So I don't have to get rid of my righteousness. I don't have to get rid of something that I've probably researched to oblivion and gone through all the books and everything and then draw evidence that I'm right. She wants to connect. And so then I can just be like, you know what? I actually see how your idea works. Actually, I bet you it works like this. And this is how you came up with this. And then hear me out. Like, is this? She'd be like, yeah, okay. That doesn't mean that I have to go and change everything. It just means that I'm confirming you. I recognize you. I validate you and I allow you. And I would love that in return.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that process, that righteousness kind of subsides a little bit. And then the connection rises. And then we meet each other where we actually want in the first place, which is to be in the same space.
Yeah.
Is that what you're...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's effective. That's effective. And I mean, communication is one of the most important things, right? Both in relationship and in business. And it's just learning how to navigate that communication, not communicate. Because when most people think communication, they're thinking, I need to communicate to that person or at that person.
I need to talk at you.
Yeah. I need to explain more clearly what it is that I want. But
Convince.
but it's really when you're able to go over to the other person's side and meet them where they are. And if maybe where they are is not where you want to be, you can then from that point lead them into that place of mutual understanding. Yeah.
So good.
Use it. Well, so how, for you guys, with your relationship, with your communication inside your relationship, learning about each other and learning how to navigate because you're essentially both building the value within the company, and you are, I'm sure a lot of the decisions that you're making for the company inside of your relationship have to stem from that value. So how do you think it's benefited your communication in your value to your clients, or even in your relationships with your clients?
Nice.
Thoughts on that?
Well, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but just the respect thing, I think, is a huge thing, because I think just in communication in general, I mean, you two so eloquently talked about, validating another person, stepping into their perspective, and really having this 360 point of view, or all encompassing of, how might someone else with a different background, that's sitting in a different place than me, that's lived a different life, how might they be looking at this? And I think we've gotten so familiar with each other, over, the time that we've known each other, but it's wild to think we were once strangers, but we've melded together over time. And there's kind of been this, I don't know if intuitive isn't the right word, but just so natural, where we've just come to know each other, and almost the thought processes, and when little things happen, or, you can finish thoughts almost. But when it comes to the clients, I think one of the biggest things for me is understanding, even though we understand each other, we can interpret someone else a little bit differently too. And I think that's such a valuable thing, to be able to both be sitting on a meeting and then come off and say, what did you feel from that? Or how did you, what did that mean to you? And that way it just gives you, like, I've got my paradigm I'm looking through, Ali's got hers that she's looking through, and together we kind of have this really nice comprehensive view of, how's the person feeling, what do they really want, what do they need, how can we serve that pain point? So that was a long-winded way to get to that answer, but I think thinking through it verbally was really helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, I think just to add on to that too, when we know how to communicate with each other, you guys probably feel this as well. If we can communicate well together, when we bring a third person into this call, we're not butting heads in front of our clients, but we're able to brainstorm with them and bring different perspectives that pour into one person. So I think it really makes any type of client interaction more valuable, because you're getting other perspectives without argument. I cannot even imagine, if you cannot communicate very peacefully, you should not be in business together, like entrepreneurship itself is very challenging, and relationships are very challenging. And then you combine the two of them together, you just have to be really equipped, especially then bringing that third person into the call and not dueling it out.
Yeah. And the clients can tell, right? They can feel it, where if there's tension between the two of you, that's the fastest way to lose trust in working with you.
Luckily, I feel that it's only been an asset since having both of us on it. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even
Ishan
imagine.
is we save it for after the call.
Yeah.
Then I pull into his office. What's up?
Well, you do it before, right? So then the tension is all relieved at that point.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, because I work with, obviously, I work with clients that are starting businesses, and I see a lot of husband and wife business couples, and it's usually one person just taking the lead completely, and the other person is just quiet, or it's some tension and some fighting, and you could tell how there's some disagreements happening. But when you could tell that the both of you are so supportive of each other, it quadruples the support that the client feels, that, hey, I can go to either Ali or I can go to Ishan, and I'm going to get the same answer. And people are looking for consistency, right? They're looking for safety when they're making that decision to work with you. And I think that your relationship becomes the face of that, and how much trust they feel.
Yeah, or an example of what they're gonna see.
No, you go ahead.
Nah. Let's fight it out. Let's go. Rock, paper, scissors. Who goes first? 1, 2, 3. Okay, ready? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors,
There's
go.
a delay.
Okay, you go.
There is a little delay, so
maybe we cheated. But
Wait,
okay, now
she's like,
okay, I remembered it. I actually forgot for a second and was like, this is so embarrassing. I won rock, paper, scissors, and I have nothing to say. But I was just curious, like, is there something that you see that is like when you work with a lot of clients that are duos in business, is there something that you see most often that you're like, oh no, or that you see as kind of like a red flag?
So, because I'm looking at it as a coach, right? Not as a client. So whenever I see a couple, even before I get to meet them, my heart automatically goes like, oh man, I'm going to have to deal with two people, two personalities, two desires, two wants. I have to find a way to please one person and the other person.
Yes.
And so, and that's me being a coach, right? With giving advice, which obviously is a little bit different because, you know, the wife might want something different than the husband. But I would imagine that same dynamic, if there is conflict, probably also shows up in clients too.
That's great. I'm glad that you have to maneuver with your clients in that way. My clients, I have to get them to the same page instead of them continuously going in a direction that is different, right? It's like, okay, where is the misalignment or the disconnection, and then bring that up to awareness. And now you both going to have to make a conscious decision what you want to do with that instead of suppressing it. And then the more money or the more success or the more views, the more anything, the bigger that disconnection also gets, right? And so it's only going to get bigger, and you're going to have to deal with it when it's going to require even more energy, more money, more anything. Or right now, where you're at, and then bring it up to the surface, bring it to your awareness. And now both of you are going to have to make some kind of conscious decision making together, not separate, and it not be somewhere hidden, and be like, okay, now actually this is a connection point for you to expand on or grow upon. So you have those clients all for yourself, and I'll have the clients where and it's not, we're still dealing with the same problems, but it's some people want a different solution for, you know, for whatever time or period or whatever. Mine's really like identity based and getting people to connect with who they are, where they are, and that move forward from that. So
yeah. Because what most people don't realize is that any one of those tension points is a breakthrough point. So they might look at it and say, oh, we don't agree here. We don't agree here. So let's sweep those issues under the rug.
I love those issues, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, he is like the master rug uncover. Bring up all the issues, because if you can work through those issues, I mean, it makes your business, your relationship so much stronger. And so, I guess my next question for you guys would be, what is something that is under the rug, not in a bad way, but maybe something that people don't really see or know about your relationship dynamic, or just something personal that you feel actually makes your business stronger because of it? And if it don't share, you don't have to share any like super private secrets.
Yes, you do.
But...
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
We had to like, you know, give each other eyes first. For us, I feel like something that we've learned with each other is that we have two different types of communication styles. I talked about that really briefly, kind of towards the beginning, but like mine, actually Ishan's, we'll say his first. Ishan loves to talk ideas out loud, and will talk them and talk them and talk them in circles. I love you. I love you. Okay. So I'm seeing some finger pointing over there.
Sorry, you were saying, continue.
But I am like, if we cannot get to a solution in this conversation, I'd rather move on and go work on something else and come back to this. And then Ishan is very similar. I forget how you're kind of saying this earlier, but like you kind of have tabs open in your mind and you really like them to be closed so that way you can move on. Ishan operates in that same way. And so for us, it's been a learning lesson that we're still learning, is how to communicate in a way where Ishan can talk, and I can go and like close myself in a room and finish something else up and then come back. And so for us, that's been like, I called it a dance earlier. That's been like our biggest dance of trying to figure out. And then your other question was how that makes, how that affects our clients and makes that stronger. I don't know that it does, but we're working on it. Unless you have something to add or anything you can think of that kind of adds to our clients.
No, I think I mean, that certainly is definitely an under the rug point, I would say. And like I was saying earlier, I think the thought process in that with those tabs is I want to fully give it everything and then see, is this something we can move on or not? So I can just like put it away forever. And I don't know, but that is a really good, it's a good question. And I think it's something that we're going to continue as Malibu West grows, probably into our old years as we're sitting on the porch, you know, drinking coffee in the morning with gray hair. I hope I'll probably still be talking about ideas, and Ali's going to take a little break, and then I'll come back, but I'll be there with those ideas.
Yeah.
So I think it's those. It's so fun to learn about each other, and you know, because on the flip side too, it's one of those things where I want to share their ideas. I want to share so badly too. So it's sometimes finding another way to share that, or whether it's a community, whether it's a journal, whatever that is.
I think learning about that about each other was huge, because we were like, why is there this disconnect? Why is there this disconnect? And then being able to actually label it and like being able to tell you guys that that's what it was is really huge for us, because now we know, oh, it's just a different communication style. And so I can cater to his and he can cater to mine, and kind of back and forth.
Yes, and I love that you brought this up, because this has been our issue a lot too, and my issue.
No, I'll share with you though.
But it's a communication style, but I also heard something about like there's people that are external processors versus internal processors, right? And so it sounds like Ishan, I am the same way, where if my brain is just too full, like I want my brain to just be like a free flow of information. I don't want to keep it in. And so as soon as an idea comes in, I have to get it out, and I have to get it out. And I talk through my own thinking, right? I'll be talking through what I want to eat today and where I want to go today and my schedule and, you know, the next month. And for somebody like him, like he's more of a quiet, like he appreciates his quiet time. So I can understand how that could be just like an overload of information. And then something that you said is that because he's such a long-term thinker, every one of those ideas he then takes and puts his energy into. And so if I'm coming up with another idea in 5 minutes and another idea in 5 minutes, now it's an overwhelm. Now it's like, but I guess we're not doing that anymore. Are we doing this? Oh, I guess we're not doing that anymore. So it becomes very exhausting, right? And so I've tried to put myself in his shoes and like, okay, I could see how he can get overwhelmed by me talking, but it's really, I think it's more of like a processing, right? It's just how you process the information. And I love to see that it's actually the dynamic between the two of you that's working, because if you were both the same, it probably wouldn't work. And it's the same thing with us. It's like, oh, we thought that this was a challenge or a bad thing, but by seeing that you guys are going through the same thing and you're creating something so beautiful together, maybe it is that dynamic that's actually working and creating that like friction that moves the wheels forward.
And just experiencing it. You're experiencing the working process of it, but in real time, right? And we're so used to being result driven that success, or whatever it is you want to accumulate with the word success, only happens the moment that the result is shown. And from what I've observed, the result is actually the process, and it's the accumulation of process that makes the result. The result isn't something that just here, gone, or just shows up one day and then it's gone, or just, it's actually the accumulation of working through something. And as you're working through something, you're just so in the working of it that it's not the success or the result of it. You're just like, I don't see why we're not getting wherever, because where we're trying to get to is over here, and this doesn't specifically look like that, so then this must not be working, because my definition of working is the finished product. But the finished product is literally just if you want to call it a painting, it's the accumulation of one stroke, another stroke, and another stroke. And then when you're first starting the painting, you could have the whole thing built inside your head, but as you're going through it, it's still just one random line and another random line. And then that's what you are. You're just like having a bunch of random conversations or lines that eventually come together as like a full-blown picture over time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know what
Beautiful.
I just said.
It was a download that came through. That was beautiful. Well, I know that your guys's the work that you do is, and I love what you said, bringing life right into companies, and bringing life and telling their story and showing their value. So value is such a huge piece here. And for you, you have both, I'm sure before you met each other, before you started the business, have had to come to your own sense of self-value, self-worth. So my question is, how has your personal, and we don't need to go into like your past relationship history necessarily, but how has your own journey of building up your own individually self-worth and self-value allowed you to bring that into the relationship, and then from that, bring that into the business in the way that now your clients are out there sharing their value, right, through their story?
Yeah, give us that one.
Yeah, well, it's a really beautiful ripple effect, I think. And I think, everyone has such a unique journey. You can look at the hero's journey even, but personally, I can think, there was a point, especially when it comes to self-worth, it sounds cliche, but the moment that you start to let go of the wants and the need to seek something to impress, it's almost like you let go and just start being, and you can just sit with yourself and say, I'm okay with myself. And that was the time where I know, looking back, and that was just before I was able to meet Ali too, where I was able to sit with myself. And I think that being in that truth of who I am and being okay with who I am and being proud of who I am too. And I think once we can all find that sense of being proud of who we are as people, as unique people, because we're all so different, that it's time and okay to be with someone else too. And ideally, I know Ali had her own whole journey as well, but I think we were in very similar places. And you might even share the journal experience, how we had both written down exactly at that point what we were looking for in another person as well. And we both did that individually, not knowing, which I think is really neat. But yeah, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I think getting really clear on yourself first, because we both did that, and they were like, okay, separately, but it's almost as if we're having a conversation. It's like, okay, let's get really clear on who it is that I want to attract. Like, what does that person look like and act like, and who is that person? And then on my list, I crossed out everything that I did not need and just had the pillars of like what those qualities were like. And then I met someone. I was like, oh my God, it's everything on my list. And it turned out I wrote my list wrong. I need to go back to my list and pencil in one more thing. And it wasn't long after that I met Ishan. He's like so far beyond what that list was. But I think the question, kind of circling back to like valuing yourself, it's like even valuing yourself to go back and rewrite your list, because that wasn't enough. Like, and with every single stage in relationships, I think you gain a little bit, hopefully more value that you're feeling for yourself of what you deserve in your next relationship. And I feel that same way in business too, that when you see your client get results, it makes you feel very valuable. It makes you feel like you need to spread the word, that you need to get to people before somebody else does and screws them over. Like it gives you that passion, that confidence, and makes you feel really valuable. And so that all compiled together, I think it's unbeatable, and it strips away the ego, because you're like, I just want to serve and I want to be served,
Yes. And that's the thing that we actually talk about quite a bit is truly the measure of success. It sounds so cheesy, but it's when the client is successful, because you see them living their path and shining in their light. It's like, oh my gosh, we did our job right.
Yeah.
And service is such an important part of what we do too. And I think for the longest time, I actually was kind of on this journey. How can I serve people? How can I do this? And I was kind of looking away from the business entirely. I was like, how can I be of service and maybe, join or be a part of something, do something that was of service. And then I realized it kind of had this shift where I was like, you know what? The greatest way to be of service is to help someone find and reach what they're here and what they're meant to do. And if we can help them make that a sustainable way of making a living, and then them having the ripple effect of helping so many other people. And that's the beautiful thing. So many of our clients are, whether they're professors, thought leaders, coaches, we're helping them expand their reach with beautiful messages or beautiful teachings. Whether they're a voice teacher or a professor working in national security, whatever it is, we're helping them reach others. And hopefully, my hope and goal is that somehow we're helping the world be a more peaceful place. Very idealistic, but that's kind of the reach that we can have when we're helping people walk in their truth.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And it is, you are making the world a more peaceful place, because the more people that are at peace with themselves, that's how you get to a more peaceful world. And so I just love your story. So it sounds like you both had to go on your own journeys to build that value within yourself. Then you came together, you poured that value into the relationship, then you poured the value into the business. Now you're pouring the value into your clients. And now you're teaching your clients to build a high value brand for themselves, right? So they can then pour that value. So it's this passing of value that continues to happen. So yeah, I absolutely love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I know that you guys have talked about so many different ways of how you serve your clients. And so, of course, for all of our listeners, I know that you have a gift that you want to give them. So what is that gift?
Yeah, for everyone that's listening, we are happy to do a free consultation call to talk about your business and your goals and what it would be like to work together and kind of go hand in hand throughout that process. So anyone that's looking for that, they can go to malibuwest.media, and our contact page is there where they can actually schedule a call and get online with us.
Yeah, and we'll be there. We're not going to pawn you off to a team member or anything too. It'll be Ali and I, or one or the other if we're on some crazy project somewhere, but we'll be on that call, and we'd love to meet you.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Absolutely. We appreciate it. And it was just such an amazing conversation, and really great to see the behind the scenes, because it's easy for people to see the final products, or the projects that you guys are working on. And I know that you just took a trip to Mexico, and that was beautiful, but people don't always see the work that makes the work
The
right?
actual sacrifice.
The actual sacrifice, and the how you come together regardless of the challenges to create a relationship that then turns into the business being a reflection of it. So thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today, Ali and Ishan. And for all of you that are listening, we're going to be dropping the link to the free consultation into the chat. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you all so much.
I would like to, I know you're just about to just go right off and end screen, but I want to give my own personal thank you.
Go ahead.
I was looking for confirmation. I'm just letting you know. I know business, so when you said being of service, and then helping or showing people how they can be of service, and then it continues, and then everyone's just in this pattern of serviceness, and so then everyone gets something. It's brilliant. But what I think that doesn't go acknowledged, and I know when I said the real sacrifices, I saw a little chuckle there, because I just know all too well myself that there are things that you've both had to do individually and had to endure or to experience. And not all the things are actually pleasurable, and not all the things are good all the time. And somehow you still keep trying to do good. regardless of those challenges, those roadblocks, those adversities. And to me, that's what I'm grateful for, is that resilience that you both have individually and as a relationship, that you're not just showing up in life when it's good, that actually you're showing up all the time, every time, and you're making very difficult sacrifices for yourselves and for your clients and then their clients, and it just keeps rippling off. So that's something that I want to acknowledge in both of you, and that I appreciate, and that I think the world needs more of. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys. A kind ending note too, and for letting us share, because it's something we're so passionate about too. Like our yes, we're passionate about our business, but we're also really passionate about our relationship and all of the little things that help to make it work. And so I can speak for both of us that this has been really fun to have this conversation, and just appreciate all of the like heartfelt kindness that doesn't go unnoticed either. So thank you both.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to staying in touch, and hopefully we'll be listening to many more of your episodes as they come out as well.
Yes. Thank you guys. And thank you for all of you that are listening. Keep tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Mwah.
Boy, I like y'all.